Hi everybody, my name is Carol Nganga. I'll be guiding a conversation with amazing people here. As you know, this is part of the conversation of the conference on just cities, inclusion, collaboration and innovation. For this, we will be having conversations with cyclists and wondering, is this city just for them? Is it inclusive, and what ways do we collaborate to make it a better, safer city? So I will ask my panelists, conversationalists, to introduce themselves. And please tell me, why did you start riding?
I am Joel Wandurwa, amateur cyclist. And I think the reason I started cycling was just to get away to decompress, have time alone in my thoughts, and also for fitness.
I'm Chef Otieno. I am not a cyclist, as Carol said. Aspiring. But I'm excited about what we are talking about because I'm part of the city and I use the roads, but I also see the issues that cyclists face. So we just want to have a conversation.
Gideon Ocheng. I am a cyclist, I would say. Not an amateur, not a professional, so I'm in between. I started cycling probably 5-6 years ago, and the reason why I started cycling was because my knees were giving in. I used to run a lot, and I met somebody who told me, hey, try cycling, and I did.
I'm Mike Meshak. I'm also a cyclist, but me, I do my cyclist when I'm going to school, attachment of which I always cover a distance of 60.4 kilometers to and fro from Buruburu. I use Black Mamba. I don't have a mountain bike,
Yes.
but I manage.
Before, Mike, you were telling me something very interesting about for you, this is your mode of transport. This is how you get around in the city, and this was also a gift from your parents, so that you save on bus fare, but also so that you get to go where you need to be. How did it feel, like when you were given a bike and told, ndio utakuwa unaenda nayo?
First of all, when I was joining the Polytechnic, I was using transport. I didn't have any bike, so the transport was so expensive. When I was going to school, it was around 120 daily. I need to take lunch, but sometimes I don't manage to get the transport. So the parent decided to get me a bicycle from home, of which this bicycle which I'm using is from home. I didn't bought it here because it is the one which I was using to go to high school. Yeah, so now it is helping me a lot to save the transport.
Thank you, Mike. Mr. Dagana.
Yes, my name is Dagana Gatheru. I've been cycling for about a year. I'm what the cycling community calls a COVID cyclist, the ones who started as a result of COVID. So it's pretty much straightforward. Mid last year, there was just a lot of downtime, staying at home, not doing anything. You want to get out of your house. You don't really want to, well, I didn't feel like driving because it would be quick. So I thought the roads are empty. Why not just get a bike and start cycling?
What are the things that, and any one of you can answer as I said, what are the things that you didn't know about our roads before you cycled that now are very obvious for you as a cyclist?
On the bypass, there's a small bit of tarmac on the shoulder. So I always used to wonder, why aren't the cyclists on that shoulder?
Yeah.
Until I started cycling. Now every 10 meters, there's like a depression for draining water from the road onto the side of the road. So when you're cycling, it interrupts it interrupts the flow, and also for lack of a better word, brings injury, because it's a hard bump every 10 meters, so you get your yeah.
Of course, as much as I'd say I'd like for us to all to have a lane on every single road, I know it's not practical. What I would ask for is just respect from other drivers. Know that we're both sharing the road, because I feel like there's this sort of thinking or culture that to be candid, your bike is not as expensive as my car, so I have right of way, which is not the case. Yeah.
Yet some bikes are more expensive than
Yes.
some bikes are more expensive than some of these cars. Joel, sorry, Mike Meshach. What did you learn? And you said you've done it from high school, and there's 4 years you did in Ushago, and you did it in the city. What's the difference that you?
In Ushago, the driver, for example, first of all, in Ushago there's no traffic light. So first of all, you yourself, you should consider that when you are driving. And on Ushago, the car moving at high speed, of which you can't also manage to compare with the town when you are in town. So here in town, sometimes the matatus drivers, I can say they are careless, because someone want to move to the left side, and the driver is not even indicated. So if your brake is not sharp, obviously you will have an accident. Ushago unajua mmosa tuendeshi kwa barabara. Huku at least una learn kama unataka ku move on this side, which lane should you ride on.
Gideon, what is the one thing you didn't know? And then also, I want, as we are all winding up because our time is gone, but I also want us to say closing comments, but also to ask, what do we need to do to make our roads just and inclusive for bikers?
Wow, I mean, so many things that I didn't know, I would say. Some are fun, some are, not so fun to recall. But just the invisibility of a cyclist, we're just not visible. We don't count in many people's head. And I'm saying this because I'm both a driver and a cyclist. And I find myself also behaving funnily towards cyclists. I'm a little bit impatient with them when I'm driving. Yeah. And so once I got into cycling, I have to transition between the two. So from time to time I have to remind myself, you're a cyclist and you're a driver, and so that if somebody is cycling and I'm driving, I must be able to accommodate them. That does not come naturally, even for the cyclist. So you asked me what I've learned. I think I've learned that at different points, it's very easy to blame the driver, but then I don't know what it is that overtakes them, whether you call it a demon or whatever, but when somebody's behind the four wheels, they don't seem to see the cyclist. And a very good example for me was once I was in Upper Hill, and I was on Mara Road. Clearly, I have the right of the way, and I'm actually cycling going in one direction, and out of nowhere a taxi comes and makes a U-turn. It's illegal for him to do that, and I literally watch him hitting me. It's one of those, you're watching him as he comes, you think he's gonna slow down, and I was invisible to him. So he hit me, I landed in a ditch. I didn't hurt myself badly, but he did not even wait. He stopped, slowed down a little bit, looked around, and then drove off. I was near a police station, actually went to report the matter, I gave the details. I've even had a picture of the car and the number plate, and nothing was done. Absolutely nothing. And so for me, the invisibility of the cyclists in the city and the issues of injustice in terms of their voices not being heard, if they lodge a complaint, it doesn't seem to matter. For me, that is one of those things that I really learned. And, just to know that we're invisible and therefore needing to take care of ourselves as we cycle. Believe me or not, matatus are more kinder to the cyclists than the private, vehicles.
For me, seeing the craziness that matatus cause on the road, to hear that they're actually the kind ones.
The hierarchy of rudeness. Uber drivers. Okay, sorry, not taxi drivers. Taxi drivers, then personal cars, matatus. There'll be that occasion, but as he says, he'll apologize. Like today morning, he came, then he was offloading somebody, and he stopped and he's like, "Hey, mzee, pole, siko nimekuona." Alafu tuende strong, even as in he's literally encouraging you.
So what should we do to make the city a just place for cyclists?
Funny thing is that Kura has what you call safety parks, where ideally for cyclists you go and get a bit of knowledge on the signs and what. I would hope that they would include that in the driving curriculum, so that also the drivers realize that the road has users. Because if you look at the curriculum, the road users are pedestrians, motorcycle, other cars.
Yes.
Yeah. So they need to include the cyclists, because if Kura already has, I think they have 6-7 safety parks spread around the country, in Nairobi, Kisumu, Kakamega, Mombasa, where you can go and learn, and they also need to encourage that, because right now those parks are considered outing for school, for children. Yeah, so if they were to accommodate that for people who would want to further their knowledge, as he says, he came from a setting where there are no traffic lights, there are no demarcations. Now to come into a setting like this where all these things are now being put into place, that's one thing. And then also increased infrastructure available for cyclists.
What I have to share stems off what Gideon mentioned about being invisible on the road, and I too am a driver, and I'm guilty of not seeing bikes or being a little bit impatient with them. So what I'd like is for us to increase the awareness of cyclists on the road. I don't know what sort of campaign, what sort of route or method we can do to do that, but I mean, a lot of the times when you hurt people's pockets, people listen. Maybe back in the day, I know it's horrific now, but it was always a big issue if a car was in an accident where it hit a pedestrian, whether or not the pedestrian is on the wrong.
Yeah.
It does not matter whether they ran in front of the car is on the wrong. You should always be aware of your surrounding. And I think that should be the same as well for people on bikes, because the nature of it is we've got no protection.
Yeah.
But we want to use the road, be it for leisure, be it for commute. I mean, it's the livelihood of a lot of us. So we want to be seen and to be mostly seen, not even respected, yes, but just seen on the road, and given that recognition that we are sharing the roads with you.
I don't have much to say because they have said it all as for me. So I seconded them.
You seconded them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just as a pointer for this conference and for this session, there is so much that we could have chosen on how the city can be just, how we can include, collaborate and innovate. We chose cycling as one of the ways, but we can use this for anything and everything. We can use traders, we can use matatus, we can use housing. How do our goal is for any of the sectors that we are doing, how do we make it just, inclusive and innovative so that all of us share this city?
Thank you. I'm not a cyclist, but from our conversation, there are three things that have come out for me. And one is on our roads, because I'm not even though I'm not a cyclist, but I drive. And the whole idea of visibility comes out so strongly, because I also not sometimes see the cyclists. But it's attributable to bad manners on our roads.
Yeah.
So I think when drivers have bad manners and all of this, it becomes a bit of a problem. So it has to be something about our own, I don't know the right word to use, but being able to obey traffic rules, being courteous on the road, and knowing that there are also other road users. The second thing that has come to mind is the whole thing, even together with bad manners, the whole idea of superiority, feeling that we are superior. So especially for the private cars, maybe superior to matatus and to cyclists. So that has to be addressed. The third thing, the reason why I asked about the cycling lanes, that someone said that when we come to black spots, and Christians would go to black spots and pray and cast out demons, he's saying it is never a prayer problem or a spiritual problem, it's an engineering problem. And so if we can improve on our engineering and begin to look at how do we now create all these lanes, even the rural areas. I know the roads are also narrow and things like that, but we need to improve on that.
It's funny how larger issues in the country or the world can affect small issues like cycling. So I know in this country we constantly talk about everyone is trying to get ahead by stepping on someone else. They don't care when they step on someone else to do so. And that culture of greed stems onto the road, that a matatu driver or a personal vehicle think they've got more right to get to where they're going than the person next to them. So they can overlap or take a lane that is for bicycles and motorbikes to get ahead. And that, of course, now influences us. So it's that culture and spirit of me first, as opposed to we're all in this city together. We all have somewhere important to go.
Yeah.
If let all of us arrive 5 minutes late, then one person out of 20,000 arrive early and everybody else is an hour late.
We are here at Snack Attack as well. We were hosted by Snack Attack, who are actually very key in the cycling culture in this Nairobi. So, and they have, if you've been hearing at the background, there's just been nice smells, wafting through. But thank you so much for all of us. And as I said, we chose cycling, but you can use it for anything and everything, every sector in this city. We need to be more thoughtful, inclusive. We need to pursue justice. How do we share this city that God has given us? How do we do it and share it well? So thank you so very much for listening, for engaging with us, and keep cycling. I'm also wondering why there are no women cyclists here. So, but we'll talk about that. I need to learn how to cycle as well. So thank you very much.